wonderful people, welcome back to my channel and happy new year guys. I hope this year is going to be a year of great fulfillment for us all, and cheers to creating more wonderful content with you guys and sharing wonderful experiences. So in today's video I'll be sharing my pregnancy experiences. By popular demand, most of you have asked me to share what my experience was like in Malaysia. I'll also be sharing how I prepared for my delivery and my postnatal care experience with you guys. I hope you would enjoy the video and watch it to the very end. So let's get into it, guys. So I'm going to start with what it was like for me to be pregnant and finding out that I was pregnant. So like every other person, I missed my period and I took a home pregnancy test, and it came out positive. I was really excited. I was over the moon. I was overjoyed because I was well prepared for this moment. I was waiting for it. I couldn't wait to share the news with my husband. So when it came, I told him the news. We were overjoyed. We celebrated it, and this is how the pregnancy journey started. So after getting to the hospital and I got registered for my prenatal clinic appointment, I was given a series of options of doctors to choose from, and I settled for my doctor then. He was a very, very wonderful man, and I chose him because he had more experience. Yes, and was wonderful. Like really, he made the pregnancy very easy for me. And the first thing that strikes me in the medical services in Malaysia was the one-on-one service you get. Like it's you and your doctor. The service is personalized. You speak to your doctor. You have your doctor's personal number. In case there's anything, you can always call him and explain your situation to him and get advice. Sometimes during my appointment, I'm there for 30 minutes, 40 minutes. We're having so many discussions, in-depth discussions, and he's explaining to me from step to step on what is happening, what to expect, and why things are the way they were. As compared to Nigeria, where you are all having the same, like you are grouped together as a group of married women and you receive your medical service together as a married woman. Yeah, so that was one of the things that strikes me. Like it really stood out for me, and it stood out for me because it just made things easier. It really helped with the anxiety. Another thing that stood out for me in the medical service in Malaysia was the scans. So from my very first appointment, I had scan. This is 4D technology, and I even hear now there's 5D technology. So it was interesting to see that from the very first day you get scanned, as compared to, I think in Nigeria, you'd either be in your second trimester or in your third trimester. Doing your scan is like it has to be in a special center and you have to set like a special date for it, something like that. In Malaysia, with every appointment you get to scan your pregnancy, you get to get updates, which I really appreciate a lot, and you get to appreciate the real technology has come to play in medicine. Like you could see your baby's features, you could see the water level, the blood level, and I feel like scanning is a very important part in the pregnancy journey because it helps to nip anything in the bud. I could remember in my second trimesters when I went for a scan, we could see from the scan that the blood level was low, and my doctor advised me to increase my iron intake and all of that. So I would really like to say that at this point, that if you are pregnant in Nigeria, one thing you would want to take seriously is the scans. Like it really helps a lot. You get to see the water level, the blood level. Sometimes you even see your baby's features, and this is really, really interesting and wonderful to see all of this. It's just a very good thing to do, and it keeps you reassured. And one thing I would also say again as regards to the medical service I experienced while I was in Malaysia was the professionalism between the doctors and the nurses. Like there was so much professionalism. They really, really took their job seriously. And everybody is on toes to assist you, to help you make sure that the experience is an easy one. And they're having discussions with you even before you're having your baby as to what are your birth plans. Do you want a home delivery? Do you want a hospital delivery? If you'll be having an hospital delivery, is there any special thing you would want? Yeah, so the professionalism was there and people took their job seriously, and I really appreciate this because those little things goes a long way. The attitude towards work, their nice, gentle and kind words, eventually all this come together to make the experience an easy one. Another thing that stood out for me while I was pregnant in Malaysia was the openness with information. Like people don't hold information. Once they find out they're pregnant, they're putting it out there. Their EDD, they're putting it out there. As the pregnancy is progressing, they're putting it out there. Their baby's gender, they're putting it out there. Like nobody's holding information, and they would expect the same from you. But for me, from where I was coming from, it was a weird thing to do. Like it's weird for someone to ask you when is your due date, or for someone to ask you like what's the gender of your baby. Such information is hush hush. People don't discuss things like that. Like it's my personal business. Although personally for me, me. Later on, I really didn't see any big deal in it. But it has just been in my subconsciousness that people don't share such information. So I had friends that also got pregnant during my stay in Malaysia, and immediately they took in that they were like sharing the information, and they were even saying this is their EDD, this is the gender of their baby. Yeah, so they expected that you put such information out as well. Like there's no big deal with all this information as regards to your pregnancy. So I remember a very funny incident that happened, guys, with this Chinese woman. I think I went for an event or something. I was like in my second trimesters now. I was showing pretty much, and this woman I think she was sitting close to me, and she was looking at me, admiring me. And there's this way that like you are admired as a pregnant woman, as if you're a special woman being, as if you're a goddess. So she was admiring me, and we got talking, and she was like, from the shape of the stomach she's seeing, she thinks it's going to be a boy. She said it emphatically as a matter of fact. Like at this time, I was my second trimester, I knew the gender already, and I was surprised when she said it's going to be a boy, because it was actually a boy. So she was trying to explain later that in the Chinese tradition, if the stomach is round, it's most likely going to be a girl, and if it is oval shape and it's pointing more downwards, then it's going to be a boy. And I was just surprised, like, what? So we just laughed over it. That incident just like stuck with me, and I was just marveling at the openness. Like people are just open with the pregnancy topic. There's no hush. So guys, as my pregnancy progressed from the first trimester to the second trimester, by the time I was in my third trimester, I already had the EDD. So when it was getting to my third trimester, I was preparing myself for having my baby. So one of the ways in which I prepared for my delivery was taking Herbal to Sauda, and I was also taking, which is prophetic medicine. I was also taking Ikona Fatima. I make sure I also got Ikona Fatima. I don't know the English word for that, but it's also a prophetic medicine, and I got it in one of the local prophetic medicine stores around. I was always like soaking it in hot water and drinking it. I don't know if it helps, but one of the other ways I got ready for my delivery was shopping in advance. So once I was in my third trimester, I started shopping already since I knew the gender. Shopping was very easy. You're not going all around or going to Koidumota to walk before you get everything sorted out. So like everything it's a one-stop shop where you get everything you want, and you would even get like suggestions on best products to use and the latest products, and basically everything was just to make the motherhood journey easy. I think I got everything I needed after the second time I went shopping. You can see slowly the pregnancy journey was coming to an end. The EDD day was also drawing closer. So my EDD date was supposed to be on the 14th of January. As the day drew closer, the pregnancy was slowly coming to an end. So on the 14th, I waited and to see what would happen. Nothing happened. At this point, I had already packed my bags, like I was that ready. So on the 15th, myself and my husband decided that okay, let's just go. So as soon as it was early morning on the 15th, we drove down to the hospital to do another routine check and see what's happening and get to the doctor's opinion as well. So I can remember that on the 15th was a public holiday. It was a public holiday. The doctor wasn't even in the hospital, but we met the doctor on call. She checked me in initially, and I think then I was at 2 cm or 3 cm, I'm not sure. And she was like, being the first child, that should probably still go back home and wait till tomorrow or the next day after to see what will happen, because it's the firstborn child. It takes time to settle and all of that. So I raised the concern about the contractions, and she was like, it's perfectly normal for me to have contractions. It's normal for the contractions to start setting in now, but the way she's seen it and with her experiences with firstborn children, it takes like 2-3 days before it eventually sets in. And I can remember there's a big mall beside this hospital, and we thought, okay, before we go back home, let's just go in to do some window shopping, and just walk around, do some exercises. And as I was just going out of the hospital, guys, I could not, I had this sharp pain in my stomach and my waist as well. I thought my husband, let's go back. I can't even take a step. Like, this is not happening. Let's go back to see the doctor. So we went back inside to see the doctor, and she checked me again, and she was like, wow, it has progressed further. I was at 5 cm at this point, and she was like, with the way she's saying things, most likely I would get admitted today or tomorrow. So at this point, they brought in a wheelchair for me to sit in, and I was taken to the labor room. So from this point onward, everything was like on fast forward. Like I was taken into the wheelchair, I was taken straight into the labor room. Like into the labor room, guys. At this point, my husband had to go sort out the administrative whatever. We had to make payment for the room I'll be staying in after having my baby. We had to make payment for the delivery itself. So delivery in Malaysia is not free. You have to pay for delivery, and if it is even a cesarean section, the payment is much more than the normal delivery. So it was sorting that out while I was in the labor room. So by the time it was done with all of that, I was already in the labor room. I had changed my clothes into the maternity wear. The IV was already in my hand. At this point, I was apprehensive. The reality was was dawning on me. And when my husband came upstairs to, check on me, he was surprised to see I was all changed already. Like, it was at this point that it dawned on us that, okay, oh, this delivery is about to happen. And remember, I said it was a public holiday. So my doctor wasn't on call. He had to be called urgently to come. And in the next 5-10 minutes, I think he was there. And he was like, what? So is happening today? And we threw banters back and forth. And he explained what was going to happen to me. He reassured me and told me what to do. At this point, after 5 cm, the next time they checked me, I was at 7 cm. So by the time I was at 7 cm, my doctor was already around. At this point, the contractions were much more frequent. So as they were monitoring my heartbeats, they were monitoring the baby's heartbeats. They were monitoring the contractions as well. So in the room, I was just seeing all these machines and all these gadgets all around me. Everything was making sound. The machines were recording my heartbeats, the baby's heartbeats. Everything was happening all at once. That was when I knew that yes, it is happening today again. So fast forward, after progressing to 7 cm, so the midwife came to me and she came to discuss what's gonna happen. I was really screaming and shouting every time the contraction set in. And I got this weird look from people, from my midwives, like they can't understand why I was shouting because it was very strange to them. In the Asian culture, most likely, even if you see someone in labor, they'll suck it in and suck it up. They won't, scream out loud. So it was really strange for them to see me do that. But hey, who cares? The midwives were there rubbing my back, they were placating me, and even though it was okay, they were helping me go through this process, right? At the point, it was very irritating for me, like I didn't even know what I wanted. It was very, very irritating. And from 7 cm, by the time they checked it next, I think I went from 7 to 9, and from 9 I went to 10. So I went from 3 to 5 to 7 to 9 and 10. That was how my contractions progressed. And I would say it was a very, very fast process. Like the whole delivery process took about 30 minutes. From changing my clothes to being in the labor room to my doctor arriving, everything took about 30 minutes. And the main push itself took about, I would say, 5 minutes. And guys, I pushed just 3 times. Like the first one, the second one, the third push like this, my baby was out. Mashallah. That was my easiest pregnancy and delivery experience so far. It was a very beautiful and surreal moment for me. So something happened that I really liked when my baby came out, because they want the father to be involved with the delivery process. It is the father that would cut the umbilical cord off. So it was my husband that cut the umbilical cord and clamped the pin on the umbilical cord. So it was something that I really treasured. He was happy to take part in that way and manner. It made him feel like it was also part of the process. So for me, I really don't understand some hospitals where they do not allow the husband to come in, especially in Nigeria, where the fathers are not allowed to be in the labor room. I feel like the father of the baby should also be there to experience the process. That way he will be able to appreciate it more. As the man, he will be able to understand what the woman is going through. So after having my baby and my husband cut the umbilical cord, he was taken to, so I was allowed to carry him for like a few minutes, after which he was taken to the neonatal ward. So that's the ward where they keep the newborn babies. My baby was observed for a complete 24 hours. So this 24 hours medical observation is to have a complete medical profile of your baby. So you would get information on what your baby cannot eat. You'll be getting information on his genotype, on his blood group, on the things they shouldn't eat, and you'd also be getting various information on how the various organs in the bodies are functioning, from his eyes to his ears to the brain. They will also check the jaundice level, and all of this were the comprehensive examination they conducted for my baby after I had him. And this 24 hours also allowed me time to rest, so I kind of see the sense in it, even though after every hour I was always calling the nurses to bring the baby in for me to see. So you can also see your baby and they'll take your baby back. It wasn't just a complete 24 hours blockade. So if you want to see your baby, you can still see your baby. So after having my baby, I was expecting that I would see hot amala or hot pap and semo, but guys, it was McDonald's. It was McDonald's. Like, if you're from Nigeria, you understand my pain. Like, after giving birth, how would you come and give me McDonald's? I don't understand. It was McDonald's. So it was McDonald's I was eating. That part, guys, that part was painful. I'm not even going to lie. Like, how would I finish giving birth to a baby and I'll be eating McDonald's? But it's just a moment I cannot trade for anything in the world. After seeing your baby, all of the pain just go away. You feel brand new. It was a beautiful experience. As for me, I was so eager to see what my baby would look like after doing all of those scans, going for all that appointments. I had the anticipation. I was just so eager, and eventually when it came, mashallah tabarakallah, it was perfect. It was beautiful. People got to know that I had my baby, and people started coming to say hi to me, to greet me. So eventually I got to eat semo, took pepper soup and all of that, and I think I was discharged from the hospital the next day. now the reality has changed for me. There's a new baby to take care of. I have to get on my feet as early as possible. This is when I miss my mom the most. So before leaving the hospital, I was told to always put on my socks, to always be in warm clothing. Even though we had friends come over and neighbors come over to help me bathe my baby, and I am so grateful to them. Like people really turned out. They helped to bathe the baby, you know, every morning and evening. Unfortunately, it was just for a few days. Understandably, everybody had their lives to live. They had studying to do, research to conduct, and I think I was bathing my baby from the 5th day. I was already bathing him from the 5th day. I was the one washing the baby. My husband was pouring the water. It was a good bonding moment for us, but you can't help but miss home, because I knew even me myself, I still needed care. And you know, you just wish for like your mother to be there to take care of you and to take care of the baby as well. At this point, everything was wearing down on my shoulders, but I knew that I had to quickly get back on my feet and, you know, weather the storm. That was how my motherhood journey began. So after I had my baby, I was really lonely. I think I even had postpartum depression. Yeah, because it was just a whole new experience. Everything was just too much. It was a rush for me. It was just too much changes, you know, a new environment, first time being pregnant, first time having a child in a foreign man's land with no family and friends. It was just too much for me to be at a point. Like sometimes I just break down in tears. That was when I knew that I had like the baby blues, which is known as postpartum depression. One thing that helped me in my postnatal days were, you know, something as simple as just doing something for myself. The fact that you know you're doing something for yourself, that's one of the ways you can take care of yourself. So the fact that you know you're doing something for yourself sometimes helps you. Because at that time, something as simple as just taking a walk helped me. It really helped me. Or reading a book or writing. So it was at this time in my life I started writing, I started reading more, and sometimes even just doing a cup of tea, it does the magic. Or just taking a shower. So these are the ways you can care for yourself after having your baby, having that bath, taking that walk, reading that book, just doing yourself a cup of coffee or tea. It really helps. And also discussing with my husband was also very helpful. Like he was very supportive as well. We practically went through the journey together, and it creates a kind of strong bond between us. It was a very good bonding time for us, and it's a moment in our lives that we cannot trade for anything in the world. It was the best gift that we could get at that time in our life. Mashallah, we are so grateful for it. That was how my first pregnancy story went in Malaysia. And you know, it was, even though pregnancy, we all know, it's a life-changing event, and it's even more daunting in a foreign man's land, but I was able to, you know, overcome all of these challenges. If you've watched the video up to this point, thumbs up to you. Thank you so much guys for your support. Kindly subscribe, like, share and comment. I would really love to hear from you. Kindly leave a comment down below, and I'm going to see you in my next one guys. Bye bye.